With technology getting more and more advanced, and the scale of these virtual worlds we gamers reside in expanding every day, where do we draw the line? Or is there even a line that should be drawn? In the most philosophical episode yet, we delve into the melding of virtual worlds and reality. Hello and welcome to the Echoverse Unlimited Show, episode 9. We are nearly at that's 5. 9. We are nearly at the 10th episode. I'm very excited. I don't know if it's going to be special next week, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do something a little bit interesting. Try and swap it up a little bit, maybe. That's what we should work towards because we are constantly improving, baby. We have a new production assistant in this microphone. It's beautiful, isn't it not? I'm going to move that back up there so it's not on the camera. So yeah, this is the first episode with a brand new mic, which is exciting. The production quality of these episodes, I hope, will keep improving as time goes on. Maybe get a green screen back here and stuff like that if you guys keep supporting it. And we will eventually have a fully automated show, maybe get some guests on each week. That would be really fun, but I need to work out how to do that technologically. The first 10 episodes, I think, I'll talk about more next week, have been probably about editing and sorting out life, so that I know how to make the show and how to make it into something that people want to watch. And the next 10 episodes are going to be expanding on that and making it better, as is most of the rest of the channel. And Echoverse, as we go through the next few months, is all going to be about expansion. So it's pretty exciting. But today is not focused on any of that. Today's focus is VR, virtual worlds. Now, I know VR stands for virtual reality, but I'm just saying virtual worlds. That's not VR, that's VW. Fucking asshole. But VR is going to be the first topic. So, answering the question, the melding of virtual worlds and reality, what better answers that than VR? Okay, so VR, as I said, stands for virtual reality. Now, I'm sure if you are any way into technology, you have heard of the rise in VR that is happening in society at the moment. It's becoming more accessible to households around the globe and is becoming a lot more of a marketable thing. Before, you would have to pay a small sum, no, not a small sum, a very large sum, or remortgage a house to get a good VR experience. Now you can get one for pretty cheap. I have one. I have the Oculus Quest VR. It's a really cool headset. I love it. There's not too many games on it yet, but the store's ever expanding, and some cool different experiences are coming out, and that's really cool. And it creates a truly simulated reality that people may get caught up in, or not even may, do get caught up in. It allows for your perceived reality, so your world, to be transformed into something else entirely. Be it you're on top of a mountain, you are fighting rebels, stormtroopers. They're not rebels, fighting stormtroopers or rebels in Star Wars, or even running away from monsters in Resident Evil. You get transformed into these worlds literally. Like you can control the hands and you feel like you're in it, which is a pretty mad and pretty surreal experience. I know a lot of people who get sick by it if it goes too fast or something like that, and I completely get that because it is a pretty disorientating experience, and that is an interesting thing. So you obviously have heard of motion sickness, so on like planes and cars, and if you look at your phone, you feel a bit sick, but you are then experiencing it in VR because your body thinks it's real. Like your body is going, whoa, what is happening right now? This is really weird. Why are we moving? This isn't real. This isn't real. This is whoa. And your brain and body are like seeing and experiencing two different things, which is kind of interesting in that way of the melding of virtual worlds and reality because it literally is melding. The two things are coming together in one glorious experience, and that's kind of strange. It's the biggest advancements in technology at the moment. You're seeing constant change and improvement with each headset that comes out. I mean, the HTC Vive, I believe, which goes for a small house. Actually, it's not that bad. It's like the price of a new console anyway. That it allows you to have full body capture, which is really cool. So you are literally moving around and stuff like that. And there are even suits. Some big YouTubers have used them for their content where they're literally walking around as normal, and the body is and the set is censoring that, sort of like Ready Player One if you've seen that movie. And that's really interesting and innovative and all that sort of stuff. But it also presents an interesting question. Will this be the new future of gaming? maybe. I think if there's going to be another big change, big leap, like the console generation, then I think it is going to be VR. How long or how far away that is from now is left to be seen. But I think it is a industry that is constantly advancing. So I think VR is the next big thing. And as you see more technology comes over, I just worry that when this gets in the hands of children, are they going to be disorientated? Yes. What's the word? Oh my god. Talk about brain melt. Um. Oh my god. What is that word called? Begins with D. Uh. Desensitized. Professionalism. Desensitized. Yes. Are they going to be desensitized to the world around them? Are they just going to want to stay in the virtual worlds? My answer is probably yes to both things. So it is. I think it is potentially the most dangerous advancement in technology yet, if it's not dealt with well, and restrictions and stuff put in place, and harder restrictions to stop kids from getting access to different things is definitely going to be needed, and it's something that the law and everything else is going to start to have a look at, in my opinion. People may disagree, and if you do, put it down in the comments nicely. No hate. Let's just have a conversation, Please don't shout at me. But it's still something that's really interesting. So I've said that a lot. It is very interesting if you didn't know already. But if we're moving on through real life problems, so as I said, you can get motion sickness from virtual reality. Now that's a real life feeling. What other real life things carry over into the virtual worlds? Next section. So, real life problems in virtual worlds. It's not just VR that has these issues. There's several other aspects of the gaming industry that also have these sorts of things. So, if we have a look at a big one, currently rife in the gaming industry is loot boxes and gambling, aka microtransactions. EA is the number one company that we can talk about with this, or Activision, either or. God, they must hate me by now. But yeah, if you play their games, let's look at Battlefront 2. You can, or Foot Packs, I believe it's called FUT packs. Yeah, in FIFA, you can open these packs or loot boxes and get random things out of them. Apex as well. Apex has them. I use them a lot in packs, and obviously there's different cosmetics that you can get. There are also different cosmetics that people individually really like and people individually really don't like, with obviously rarity scaling and stuff like that to encourage you to keep buying more packs so that you can get the one that you like. Because the likelihood is, unless you're very, very lucky, you are not going to get your favorite item in your first pack or loot box. So it is, in my opinion, a form of gambling because you are gambling with this percentage to get what you want, or even a worthy reward, and you're giving them your money to do so. And these currency are not cheap; they are very expensive. They are. You can get packs of this in-game currency that are more expensive than the game itself, which is kind of ridiculous to think about. And I think it is just really dangerous, especially when you're a kid. I myself was roped into it because you just don't have the concept of money. You haven't really worked, so the idea of spending £30 and that being a lot of money doesn't really come across to you. Just like, I have money, mum has money, dad has money, and I spend money on loot boxes. And then you don't get what you want, so you keep spending money, and eventually it racks up to a very hefty amount. There's been no end of stories of parents who have looked at their credit card statement one day and their child has spent a small fortune on microtransactions. And that just happens. And I think it is very dangerous, this, for especially if you have an addictive personality, you can get addicted to things easier. You are going to be just unable to help yourself to resist to get that shiny new skin for that character, or the best player that you, or your favorite player, for example, in FIFA. You are going to spend that money. And it is a very big trap because then they release more content, more cosmetics, and you go, hey, that's a really cool one. I want that one. So then you're constantly working towards getting the cosmetic that you want. And that is a real way to get you ensnared. and to keep giving them money, which is not good. And there's no regulation on it because how do you regulate the internet? It's not really possible. So, yeah, there's another real life problem brought into reality. Next is an interesting one, and I don't know if I truly agree. Well, I guess it's been officially diagnosed, is gaming disorder, uh, which is an official diagnosis by WHO, so the World Health Organization. So it's not just one country or one person's view, it is a whole organization that is responsible for the world's health. So it must be real. And what it is gaming disorder is where if you are prioritizing gaming over other real life important things like food, work, money, that sort of thing, you have gaming disorder. You're addicted. Which I guess is a very real thing. Is it a disorder? I don't really know. Like if you're addicted to anything, is it a disorder? I guess so. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But this is a relatively new concept, and the fact that it's gotten like, let's be real, most politicians and leading world figures do not view gaming as a key part of society or even a important part. I say most because there are some who don't think like that, but gaming is still a pretty touchy subject among that. So for it to be diagnosed by the World Health Organization is a pretty big thing because that is the world recognizing that gaming is a thing, obviously, and an industry to be listened to, and is not and it's not to be shamed, I guess, shunned or not spoken about, which often can sometimes come across, especially in leading figures, or it can be a scapegoat for different societal events. I'm not going to go into which ones because that's a whole nother bag of worms. God, we do not want to open that one. But it's being officially diagnosed as an illness, gaming disorder. Interesting. So there we have it. Again, virtual worlds are affecting our reality because you're becoming so obsessed with them that they do become your reality. You prioritize them over your reality, and that's pretty crazy to think about. The fact that years ago, when the first Game Boy came out, that people would be thinking, "Hey, way down the line, this is going to become a problem. There is going to be people addicted to this, and there's going to be a whole disorder about it." Which is it's pretty crazy to think about. And finally, another one, speaking of addiction. So I think the majority overarching part of this is gaming is addictive, just different parts of it are more addictive to different people. And that is the very common phrase that I'm sure you've heard: one more game. And I've said it myself. I've said, if you talk to any of the friends I played Apex with, I'll be like, we'll have one more. This is it. This is it. One more game. And then I'll be like, that wasn't really a proper game. Should we like have another one? And they're like, no, I want to go to bed. I'm like, do you, or do you want to have another game? Because I think you want to have another game. And then we end up having another game, maybe 2, 3 more games. And I'm like, okay, no matter what happens, this is the real game. And when I say that, that's when you know I'm going to go off most of the time. But for some people, especially again, children, with the rise of Fortnite, you did see it come through a lot because of the speed of which you got through games and the easy access because it's free. Having one more game, that was just something that happened. You were just like, right, one more game, and then next thing you know, it's 6 a.m. And I know it's been around forever, but it is a good way. You are feeding this addiction yourself with that attitude. I've done it myself, and I know lots and lots of people who also have done it. It's the common one where you're like, I will just stay for one more. And it is addictive. And if you're having fun, I don't blame you for wanting to stick around. But if it gets to where you're not sleeping properly, then you have gaming disorder. Uh, but it's just a crazy thing to think about that these games are so addictive that you are literally getting hooked. And you can't break that cycle without some insane resilience in your brain to be like, nope, that's it, last one, turn off. And if you have that ability, great. I wish I did. I know probably a lot of people who do have one more game are like, I wish I had that willpower. So it's a real issue for society right now. Is that how do you deal with this? How do you have these virtual worlds that are fake, I guess. Well, they are fake, affecting people's daily lives so much. What do you do with that? How do you solve that? And are they solving it or are they making it worse? Facebook, let's look at you. The metaverse. So, Facebook's answer to virtual reality was Oculus, and now they're going down a different route. I'm sure you've heard of the recent move to Meta by Zuckerberg, and now he's talking about the metaverse, which is really social media brought to life. It's a bunch of 3D worlds put together into one sort of system, which with a focus on social interaction. And I had to ponder what could this mean for the industry, and it's a hard one to answer because really, why would you go to a restaurant when you can instead and talk to your friends when you can instead just sit in the comfort of your home and go to a fake restaurant? Sure, you don't get the actual food, but you do still see your friends. You get the social interaction. You can pour yourself a glass of wine or something like that and have it there anyway. Um, and you can enjoy it. I'm sure eventually we'll get smells and stuff coming through further down the line. Um, and I think this will be the new normal in 20 years if things keep going the way they are. And I think that is something that will be watched and have to be developed because you're looking at a whole different fake world. Like, it's a whole different scale, if that makes sense. Like, where we are currently is like here, the metaverse and its ideas are here. Like, what it wants to build is a entire social space. Very Ready Player One, again, great movie if you haven't seen it. Sort of like experience, really. You have this virtual world where most people go. It's nicer than their real houses. They can have what they want. It doesn't need materials to make your house look nice and stuff like that, which is why it's cheaper. And you have just a really interesting idea and concept to develop over the next few years. I'm sure different companies will expand into this, will buy into this, will release games for this, different social things, different multiplayer games where you go along, you shoot them with your friends. That'd be just really cool. And it is going to be really awesome to see develop, but it is also comes with its own dangers. Even more personified online issues like cyberbullying, grooming, anything like that is going to be even easier to do in metaverse. So they're going to have to be really stringent about how they do things and have a action and support plan in place. So I'll be interested to see what they come up with for that. And I think it is the next stage going forward, but how it transpires into society is something that we're going to have to watch very closely. But imagine going for the cinema experience, like, you can just go like from the comfort of your home, sit with your friends, watch the movie in like a fake cinema. Like, that's awesome. Um, and I think it will be the death of a few different businesses and stuff like that, which is not great. And it is actually the big downside of the expansion of the games industry. Is other industries are going to feel the hit. Sorry, and it's going to be checking that out and seeing how that develops. And I think only time will tell what's going to happen. But it's a really innovative and cool concept that I'm interested to see how they're going to develop it and how they're going to work it. But just the ability to like Zoom call, I guess, your friend, but your whole person is that you'll be able to give virtual hugs, like wrap your arms around people. That's mad. And it's something that years ago wouldn't even be considered. And yet here we are. This will probably be the new normal in 20 years. But speaking of simulation, because that's what Metaverse is, we're going to look at some other simulation games and other types of games and how they truly are affecting the world.
Let's find out.
So, when looking at different types of video games, one type that we can look at is simulation games. And I think these really are a big blend of virtual and real life because what you're doing is you're taking your world. So, usually when I play Sims, at least, I take myself and my friends and I put them into the virtual world and we all do weird and random shit together. That is taking like your personal life and putting it into an online format of your own design, which is something not very many different types of games can allow. Obviously, RPGs allow you to roleplay, but taking yourself and putting it into a game is a very unique experience to these sorts of things. And I think RPGs do it as well, like Skyrim and Fallout and stuff. If you want to live in that universe, you can live in that universe. If you develop enough time, you can build these real relationship with these characters. And sometimes you care about them more than you care about your real life. And I mean, you've seen it. Going off on a bit of a tangent from simulation games, but when like a character dies that you've got a connection with, you cry, you feel real emotion, and that's kind of like just shows how intertwined these two different aspects are. And I think that's really interesting and engaging to think about. Um, I think it's kind of weird to add your perfect life into a game and then you get to play it. Like that is so bizarre to think about if you really think about it. Like you're taking what you used to just dream about and you are making it a kind of reality for you. And to leave that world, why would you? Because that's what you want it to be. So putting like 10 hours into this one sim family, you're gonna stay with it for a while until your sim grows old and weary, and then that's it. And that's interesting. I've said that a lot this video, but it is a really interesting topic, and I could talk for hours about it, but I'm trying to keep it short and snappy as we like to do here in this Echoverse. But it's not just simulation games. Look at MMOs and different multiplayer games that open a whole breadth of new issues that used to only be found in the real world, and you used to be able to come home and escape from them. But now you come home, you load up your favorite multiplayer game, and you load into a lobby, and you have people calling you names, calling you and swearing at you, and all of that sort of stuff. And you get trolled, and that can really take a toll on your mental health. You don't have an escape. Your favorite game, well, there's someone right around the corner who's about to call you a beep, and that's not very nice. It's really not nice, and it can really damage you how you feel overall. Like then you don't have a sanctuary from it, and that again is taking a real life problem, and it relates to virtual worlds. So really, that line is not too far in the sand. Is it even drawn? I don't know. And it's these sorts of questions that I think allow you to deduce that when you're on the internet, you need to be damn careful because there are a lot of things that can trip you up and really affect your real life. It's no longer just the simple black and white scape that we thought it was. It's no longer, oh, hey, it's online, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Online now translates so much into real life. You use social media to get jobs, you play different games to escape, and that escape is now being affected by real life problems. You project your own personal life onto these games and make it reality. And I think that's the very human part of it. These games, in and of itself, are not real. They are just different things, different lines of code added in. But the human aspect, that that is real. So, to conclude, you have virtual worlds that are just lines of code. But as I said at the end of the last section, it is the human element that is the most important and plays the biggest role in making these things both real and feel real and also more dangerous. And that's the same with anything in life. What we add to things that we create is what makes it special and unique. But also the dangerous sides of humanity also come through. So I think there needs to be a whole look at where we're going with this by professionals who know things a lot better than me. But I just wanted to discuss it. So put down below what you think of the virtual reality and the metaverse and all of that, and how you think that's going to affect the games industry. Because I think it's going to be the next big thing. And I think over the next few years, we're going to see a massive increase in different companies taking on virtual reality, a lot of different sort of headsets on the market, like there was a bunch of different consoles, sorry, that would come out at the start of the console war, including the KFC console. Link in the description. It's not actually going to check. If you want the KFC console, it's a lot of money, and you can cook chicken, so worth it. Anyway, tangent sidetrack. It's a very interesting and real topic that I think needs to be discussed more is that these virtual worlds aren't so virtual anymore. They really do affect your day to day life. And especially if you're letting children access to these, you need to be really careful about what you're allowing and what different companies are allowed to include. Different barriers and stuff may need to be set up. But that's for someone way more qualified and who's getting paid a hell of a lot more than me to think about. And put some people disagree with regulation, and I think that's an interesting topic that I'll explore later on down the line. Should the internet be regulated? I think probably the answer is no, but maybe through research and stuff you'll come across and be like, Yeah, it does. And whilst this video may seem like I'm shaming the internet a lot, I'm not. I'm just analyzing it as such. I just want to make clear that I love the internet. I think it's a great resource. I love gaming. I'm a gamer. But it's got some dangers, as with anything, and very specifically, dangers that are personified or increased monumentally more than it could be otherwise. So it's just something to consider. But with that, we conclude episode 9 of the Echoverse Unlimited Show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it stimulating, interesting, philosophical, and all that sort of stuff. And if you did, put down in the comments, like the video, let me know what you think, because that's really important to me. I want, for the next 10 episodes, to start getting your feedback a lot more. I want your input on what you think and what you want to see, and stuff like that. We've been doing this since January. We've been doing it every week, and that's kind of cool. We're 10 weeks down next week. That's going to be exciting. So, big whoop. But yeah, I will be back with some more reviews, gaming content, and stuff next week. But until then, stay noisy, enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you very soon. Thank you guys. Goodbye.